गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यामुनातीरवनचारी यामुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यामुनातीरवनचारी यामुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 20, the dynasty of Puru. And today's shlok, verse number 12. But from 2nd to 11th, there is no purport. So we'll just read the translation from verse 2 to verse 11, then we'll chant verse 12 together. Text 2. I'll just read the translation. King Janmejaya was born of this dynasty of Puru. Janmejaya's son was Prachinvan and his son was Pravira. Thereafter Pravira's son was Manusyu, and from Manusyu came the son named Charupada. Text 3. The son of Charupada was Sudyu, and the son of Sudyu was Bahugava. Bahugava's son was Samyati. From Samyati came a son named Ahamyati, from whom Rudrashva was born. Text 5. Rudrashva had 10 sons named, text 4 and 5, I think. Text 4 and 5. Rudrashva had 10 sons named Riteyu, Kaksheyu, Sthandileyu, Krityeyuka, Jaleyu, Sannateyu, Dharmeyu, Satyeyu, Vrateyu, and Vaneyu. Of these 10 sons, Vaneyu was the youngest. As the 10 senses, which are products of the universal life, act under the control of life, these 10 sons of Rudrashva acted under Rudrashva's full control. All of them were born of Apsara named Ghritachi. Text 6. Riteyu had a son named Rantinava, who had 3 sons named Sumati, Dhruva, and Apratiratha. Apratiratha had only 1 son whose name was Kanva. Text 7. The son of Kanva was Medhatithi, whose sons all Brahmanas were headed by Praskanna. The son of Rantinava named Sumati had a son named Rebhi. Maharaja Dushmanta is well known as the son of Rebhi. Text 8-9. Once when King Dushmanta went to the forest to hunt and was very much fatigued, he approached the residence of Kanva Muni. There he saw a beautiful woman who looked exactly like the goddess of fortune and who sat there illuminating the entire ashrama by her effulgence. The king was naturally attracted by her beauty, and therefore he approached her accompanied by some of his soldiers and spoke to her. Text 10. Seeing the beautiful woman, the king was very much enlivened, and the fatigue of his hunting excursion was relieved. He was, of course, very much attracted because of lusty desires, and thus he inquired from her as follows in a joking mood. Text 11. O beautiful lotus-eyed woman, who are you? Whose daughter are you? What purpose do you have in this solitary forest? Why are you staying here? Text 12. That is today's verse. Vyaktam Rajanyatanayam Vedmi Aham Tvam Sumadhyame Na Hi Chetaha Pauravanam Adharme Ramate Kvachit Vyaktam Rajanyatanayam Vedmyaham Tvam Sumadhyame Nahi Chetah Pauravanam Adharme Ramate Kvachit Vyaktam Rajanyatanaya Vedmyaham Tvam Sumadhyame Nahi Chetah Pauravanam Adharme Ramate Kvachit Vyaktam Rajanyatanaya Vedmyaham Tvam Sumadhyame Nahi Chetah Pauravanam Adharme Ramate Kvachit Vyaktam Rajanyatanaya Vedmyaham Tvam Sumadhyame nahi cetah pauravāṇāṃ adharme ramate kvacit vyaktam rajanyatanayam vedmyaham tvam sumadhyame nahi cetah pauravāṇāṃ adharme ramate kvacit vyaktam rajanyatanayam vedmyaham tvam sumadhyame nahi cetah pauravāṇāṃ adharme ramate kvacit vyaktam rajanyatanayam vedmyaham tvam sumadhyame nahi cetah pauravāṇāṃ adharme ramate kvacit. Mataji. Vyaktam rajanyatanayam vedmyaham tvam sumadhyame nahi cetah pauravāṇāṃ adharme ramate kvacit. Vyaktam, it appears, Rajanyatanayam, the daughter of a Kshatriya, Vedmi, can realize, Aham, I, Tvam, your good self, Sumadhyame, O most beautiful, Na, not, He, indeed, Chetaha, the mind, Pauravanam, of persons who have taken birth in the Puru dynasty, Adharme, in irreligion, Ramate, enjoys, Kvachit, at any time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, founder of ISKCON. Translation: O most beautiful one, it appears to my mind that you must be the daughter of a Kshatriya. Because I belong to the Puru dynasty, my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. Purport: Maharaj Dushmanta indirectly expressed his desire to marry Shakuntala, for she appeared to his mind to be the daughter of some Kshatriya king. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. Vyaktam Rajanyatanayam Vedmyaham Tvam Sumadhyame Nahi Chetah Pauravanam Adharme Ramate Kvachit. O most beautiful one, it appears to my mind that you must be the daughter of a Kshatriya. Because I belong to the Puru dynasty, my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. Hare Krishna. So, here we see we are in the 20th chapter, and the 19th chapter it provided us with so much knowledge about our goals of human form of life, and the instrument was Maharaj Yayati, that how he got all the knowledge through various experiences in his life, and he shared the same knowledge towards the end of the chapter 19, and then he gave all his kingdom to his son Puru, youngest son, who helped him in the time when he wanted it the most. So now in this chapter, we are seeing the lineage of Maharaj Puru, and from 2nd to 11th verse, we have seen the names of various kings who came one after another, and one of them is very famous. Here it is mentioned, Dushmanta, and most of the, if you go to northern Indian side and that side, they will not know this word Dushmanta, because he is famous as Dushyanta. But this Dushyanta and Dushmanta, they are the same personality. So, Srila Prabhupada writes in one of his purports that during the time of Maharaj Vikramaditya, so there was a great poet called Kalidas. So during the time of Vikramaditya, there was a great poet called Kalidas, and he wrote a drama about Shakuntala. So it is very, very, very famous. Generally we know Shakuntala, and immediately the next thing comes in our mind. Most of the people who have read or heard about him, this Shakuntala and all these pastimes, is Kalidas. So he wrote a book on Shakuntala, very, very famous creation. So, so in this story, first we read about the various kings coming under the lineage of this Puru dynasty, and then the story of King Dushyanta or Dushmanta, it started. So as with many other cases, so this story also starts in a jungle. We have seen in various places in Bhagavatam that most of the important incidents start from somewhere in the jungle, when the king is going for hunting or something, is tired and something happens, he meets some rishis or he meets some women, and then we have something to speak on in the class. So, so here also the story starts like that, that King Dushyant or Dushmanta, he is in a jungle, and there he meets the most beautiful women at that time in the world, because she was from the combination of two of the most influential people from that time, Vishwamitra and Menaka, Apsara. So the result will be like this only. So very, very beautiful woman, and immediately Maharaj Dushyanta, he felt his heart full of desires for this woman, and he approached her and spoke the following words, that I am very, very attracted towards you, what is your name, who is your father, and all these things. So this is the background. So in today's verse, we see that one of the very important line that Maharaj Dushyanta spoke was, Nahi chetaf pauravanam adharme ramate kvachit. That because I belong to the Puru dynasty, my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. So, this is not the first time when we are hearing that this type of line has been spoken. If we see the history in Mahabharata also, at the time when Draupadi was won by Arjuna in a Swayamvara after so much fight, and when he came back to their hut and told Mother Kunti, they see what we have brought. So without seeing, she said that whatever you have brought, you divide among yourselves, all the brothers, because she was thinking that they have brought some alms. So, but without knowing that he has brought Draupadi, so she gave this order. And then they found, oh, it's not alms, it's a woman. So now there was a great dilemma, dharma sankata, what to do. And at that time, Maharaj Yudhishthira, he said that I am not feeling anything irreligious in this activity. My mind doesn't say that this activity is something bad. So we can do it, no problem. So similarly, in this connection also, Maharaj Dushyanta is telling that that I don't find anything irreligious in this. Exactly, he is saying that my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. So generally what Pandavas did with Draupadi means they married 5 men marrying a single woman. So in the perverted form, it is considered one of the biggest crimes if it is performed nowadays. That if one woman, it means it is going on, although they are not marrying, but one girl has more than 5-6 boyfriends or like that. So very, very condemnable act in a perverted form which is going on nowadays. But at that time, this was the biggest dharma, and then we saw that how the history unfolds. Vyasdevji comes and he tells the history of Draupadi, how she got some boon of 5 husbands and like that. So, so what is the main thing here is that we see that these Raj Rishis or kings, they will never do something in their life which their mind thinks that is irreligious. They will not run after that. Here also, few verses back, we see that Maharaj Dushyanta, he got some lusty desire towards this woman. But we don't see that it is like nowadays that where a man has lusty desires for all the women, whomever he see. So all the girls, women, and it is so much perverted that they have lusty desires for elderly women or small children, small girls. So, and not only that, they have lusty desires for even animals. So, very, very biggest form of perversions we are seeing nowadays. But here, Maharaj Dushyanta is saying that because I am from the lineage of Puru, so my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. So that's why we see that he approached Shakuntala, because in his mind it was not something that an act of something irreligious he is going to perform. He was very, very sure that because I am coming from a great family lineage, so in my mind there is nothing irreligious to approach this woman. So this is the thing that we see with many other kings also, but that is considered very bad nowadays. That a king having more than 3 wives, or in some cases more than 10, hundreds of wives. So generally speaking, if we consider a king, a person having more than 1 wife or 2 wives, 3 wives, what to say about hundreds, and someone had, I think, some crores of wives also, some king, I just cannot recollect his name. Chitraketu. So what to tell about Chitraketu then? So we can say that who is the biggest lusty person in the history of the world? Question comes, and the answer, various options, and the answer is Maharaj Chitraketu. So is it like that? That Maharaj Chitraketu is the biggest lusty person in the world? So it's not like that. Although it might be considered in the place, in the times where we are living now, the person staying with so many women, so he must be the lustiest person in the world. But actually these kings, or these at that time they were known as Rajarishis, so they were the actual knower of dharma, what is good and what is bad. So, as in Bhagavad Gita, we see that balam balvatam chaham kama raga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshabha. So, Krishna is saying that that kama that is not viruddha, or that is not against dharma. So, consider that kama to be me. So here we are reading in whole Bhagavatam, we see that so many family lineages, so many names or kings and sons and like that. Someone even raised this question that sometimes this Bhagavatam seems to be very boring. Why boring? Because what is the use of reading the names of so many sons, and what difference it will bring to our life? He is the son of this person. So how it changed my intellect, or how I will advance in Krishna consciousness by reading that he is the son of this and this. So why it is given? So in this way we can understand in a way that why there are so many lineages of kings and coming one after another, and here it is mentioned only one king after another. But they may have some brothers who are not of much importance, so their names are not mentioned here. So it seems that we can see that the kings, they were not keeping queens only for enjoyment, as a sign of enjoyment. Why I am keeping these queens with me? Just because one day after another I can go and enjoy with all these queens and everything. That is what is happening nowadays. Most of the people who are lusty, so their main desire is not that I am going to procreate a life and forget about all these garbhadhana sanskaras and all those things. Forget even about marriage. Garbhadhana sanskar is a very far off thing. So nowadays even someone is getting married in a proper way, that is also considered very Vedic, very means a good thing that someone is getting married. Or else the way the Western culture is coming to India, so we see that in most of the cities nowadays actually no one wants to get married. Even the girls, boys, anyway they don't want to get married, because marriage is a big responsibility. Responsibility means now I am only taking care of myself, but once I am getting married there is a big fear. Now I have to take care of another woman, and if some children are there, I have to take care of them. Maybe I have to take care of the parents of my wife also, who knows. And there are relatives, and all this tension comes. And nowadays this institution, a pure institution called marriage, so nowadays people are not so much attracted towards it in the name of so-called modernity. So in most of the cities we see that men, women, they are just staying together without marriage. And there are some colleges also. Recently I was in Gujarat, there is a place called Jamnagar. So there is a medical college there. So generally we see in hostels there is a separate hostel for men and separate hostel for women. But there is no separate hostel for men and women, but there are just rooms, anyone can stay anywhere. They are staying together. So our Narayan Prabhu has also had a good experience. He can maybe share separately with everyone what happened there when we went for preaching. So means animalistic, totally animalistic. So here we see that the Vedic way of protecting dharma, what we say as Prabhupada recommends, a very controversial topic called polygamy. So we are not going to discuss more about it, but why it is important? Because it helps. If a man can protect more than one woman, then he can have more than one wife, so that for fulfilling his lusty desires, he don't have to go to various other women out of his extramarital affairs or prostitution and all that is going on so much. So he don't have to do that. So one of the very controversial topics that Srila Prabhupada introduced was this, which is still debatable among the Vaishnava society. So we see that all these family lineage that we read the names of various kings. So this is the result of dharma aviruddha kama. That is not against dharma, because the king was rajas, means kings also and rishis also. They had that gunas in which they know that what I am going to do is whether it is religious or not. So if it is not according to dharma, they are certain that I am not going to do this thing. So because it is according to dharma, immediately after seeing Shakuntala, so immediately he said, Dushyanta, it appears to my mind that you must be a daughter of a Kshatriya. So how his mind is giving him the positive vibes, correct information. Because from the beginning they have been brought up in such an environment, so and they are coming in from a such lineage, and those all gunas are coming, and ultimately we see that they have such a strong mind which cannot think anything irreligious. So here the word comes ramate. So adharme ramate kvachit. So my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything. So in Bhagavad Gita also we see that these are the symptoms or qualities of a intelligent person. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha. The same word comes in Bhagavad Gita also of the symptoms and signs of an intelligent person, that he knows that all these happiness which arises from the senses, sense gratificatory activities, so all these happiness, they certainly have a beginning, and most certainly they have an end. That's why Buddha, intelligent person, doesn't try to enjoy all these things. So we can say that these people, these kings like Dushyanta, Yudhishthira, and all the great personalities like that, so they are the biggest Buddhas or intelligent people, because they already know from scriptures and all that these sense gratificatory activities, that they have a beginning, and certainly they have a very, very disastrous end. Because we see that in this material world, we take any example of any material activity or any material thing, then we see that although it will seem like it is giving us a very it is giving us some taste, some enjoyment in the beginning when we are trying to enjoy it, but certainly it creates lots of problems also, and ultimately it just becomes the cause of our destruction also. Just for example, a simple thing like eating something. So eating some our favorite, some sweet, it may give us very, very happy feeling for our tongue. Like some person, he likes gulab jamun so much. So gulab jamun is certainly a very tasty bullet. ISKCON bullet, Srila Prabhupada gave it the name. So it is it has some taste, it gives some taste to our taste buds. But after taking 4, 5, or in some cases like Lomanchita Prabhu, even 50, so he has a great capacity. So means after some time we see that the same thing, that gulab jamun, which was giving us so much pleasure. So after 5, 6 or 10, the same thing, we want to run away from that. If someone is pushing us in our mouth, then we might become angry on him and we might chastise him. But when we are hungry and he is putting the first one in our mouth, then we will become very happy that he is our biggest friend. But after 10, we think that he is our greatest enemy. So where the taste lies, whether in the gulab jamun or whether in our mind. So it's all the question of the mind, because that does not mean that we'll stop eating gulab jamun, but this is the thing that a person, intelligent person, will not, he knows that whatever things that are giving us some enjoyment, so certainly there will be a time when this enjoyment will finish, and most of the times it may finish in a very difficult way. It causes so much, gives so much difficulty to us. So in this way we can understand, and in this way these great personalities, why their mind always used to think something religious, because they have so much jnana, so much knowledge about the way in this material world acts. So in this way, with this the personality of Dushyant Maharaj and what he spoke today, so it is a great lesson for us also, because we see that what he is saying, that because I am coming from this Puru dynasty, so my mind cannot think anything irreligious. So because we are living in a perverted world, where everything is upside down, we see that our mind always indulges in everything which is irreligious only. So always the mind is thinking about something which is not according to dharma, and it is pushing us, the urges of it is pushing us to do such activity. So such is the nature of the mind, because now in an uncontrolled state, as Bhagavad Gita says, bandhuratmat manastasya yenatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. So Bhagavad Gita, it describes the way in which mind works. So if in an uncontrolled state, if the mind is not controlled, then we are having our biggest enemy with us. It is our biggest enemy. But for who has conquered the mind is best of the friend, who will always guide the person towards something better, something good. So in this way, it is again our free will. It's in our hands whether to keep our best friend with us, or whether to be happy with most worst of our enemies. Because we see that these urges of mind, so very, very difficult to control. Like so many urges, as it is mentioned in Upadeshamrita, how it begins: Vacho vegam, manasah, krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udro pastha vegam. So we see that there are so many categories of vegas or urges, which makes us to fall again and again, either subtly in our mind, or we see that it is or in front of everyone. So we see that urges of the mind, vacho vegam, always we want to say something, always the tongue wants to say something. So if a person, if he is not able to say, he will write so much nonsense, because the mind, the tendency of saying something is there. Vacho vegam, manasah, the mind, of all the urges, we see that urges of the mind is the biggest enemy, the most difficult urge, because it is very difficult to give a full stop to the mind. When we are thinking that how to give full stop to the mind, that is also a thought. That is also a thought from the mind, that how to give full stop to the mind. So very, very difficult to just stop the mind, or something like that. Zen Buddhism or something, they want to go towards this, that we should not think anything, everything should become shunya or zero. But the way, what they are thinking to do, that is also a thought. So very, very difficult, the urges of mind, which just leads us towards astray, means it just leads us towards something bad, because mind present irreligious things to us in a way that we think that is religious. There is no problem with that. I can do it. So this is the urge of the mind. It totally changes our consciousness. Pashyan api na pashyati means we certainly know from reading scriptures that doing this thing is bad. And we have experienced others that they have done this and they have destroyed their lives. And we are seeing towards us, and maybe we have experienced once or twice also that this thing has given me trouble. But the problem with the mind is that pashyan api na pashyati, or in other words, how Narottam Das Thakura says, janiya shuniya visha khainu, means there is a bottle of poison and in big letters it is written poison there. So and we know that there is a poison in this, but still we are opening the bottle and drinking it. So this is called janiya shuniya visha khainu. It's not that some child is there who don't know what is this bottle and just goes and drinks something and becomes sick or dies. It's not like that. We very well know that this is a bottle which is used to kill rats. This is a poison, but we are going and opening the cover and drinking it. Janiya shuniya visha khainu. So this is the urge of the mind that makes us to do the things which we know are certainly they are very, very bad. In a very gross way. Gross, this is the word I forgot that time. Gross. In a gross way, we commit the sin instead of hearing from the scriptures, hearing from the devotees, hearing from Guru, and from so many places we know that this thing is a sin, but because the urge of mind, uncontrollable mind, biggest enemy, he is present with us in such, and pretending to be a good friend, and just making us to do that thing which we know is abominable. So means this is what I am saying in our devotional life. All karmis are anyway what their mind, whatever they do, they will do, just do it. But after coming to devotional service, so I am saying these are the things which are very, very difficult, because all after knowing everything and everything, this is bad, and hearing, experiencing, but still we are forced. Arjuna says, no, we are as if we are forced to do that thing. So these are the urges of the mind. So we have to make the mind, right now it is our biggest enemy which is residing with us. So we cannot throw it away. Although we can asat sanga tyag ai vaishnava achar. So although we may have some asat sanga, like some old friends or some friends who are not devotees or who are top means hardcore karmis or like that, so we can leave their sangha in very easy way. Or that is also so much difficult for some time for people to leave the association of such friends or like their relatives. It's difficult, but somehow it is relatively easy to leave all the friends and everything, but it is very difficult to leave our mind. Where we'll throw our mind that, okay, I have now asat sanga tyag, means this is the biggest asat sanga with us. So now I have taken my mind out with operation and I have thrown it, again stitched and now finished. Now I am not, my mind is not with me. So how can we do that? This is some joke. Science will think about something about this, how to do this. But we cannot separate the mind from us. Always it will be with us. The only thing we can do is how to befriend it, or how to train it in such a way. That is called manaha shiksha. That is how to train it in such a way, our mind, that it will start helping us in devotional activities instead of taking us away. So this birth of Shakuntala, we see that Prabhupada writes, and he tells in one lecture that Vishwamitra was trying to conquer his mind through yogic process. But we see the result. That result is the birth of Shakuntala. So it is very, very difficult to conquer the mind through yogic process. But unless and until we surrender our whole self, which includes the minds also, manasa deho geho jo kichu mor, arpilu tuva pade nanda kishore. So he who is the master of the senses, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So with our senses, if we are trying very hard to satisfy the master of the senses, then with his sweet will, with his sweet mercy, if he desires, then he will make us to conquer our senses. Just the way Amrish Maharaj conquered all his senses, because everything, even the mind, everything he indulged in the service of the Lord. So in this way, whole our Vaishnava literature, we see that most of the songs, we don't find most of the Vaishnava bhajans on the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Although there are some very deep songs, even daily that we sing, that Tulasi Arti in the morning. So that is one of the deepest philosophy or song that we can sing. Ei nivedana dhoro, shakhir anugat koro, seva adhikar diye koro nij dasi. Whom we are to do this nivedana. Mora ei abhilash vilas kunje diye vas. Yeah, Abhilash may be there, but Abhilash is there, but with this type of consciousness, when it will, so Abhilash is only there. So endeavors are not there. With only Abhilash, like some Hitopadesha, one mantra is there. No? Udyamen hi siddhyanti karyani na manorathaihi nahi suptasya singhasya pravishanti mukhe mrigaha. So there they are telling about this hard work and everything. Udyamen, everything is fulfilled by Udyam, hard work. Na manorathai, just by thinking, it will not, just by abhilash, it will not be fulfilled. Just like nahi suptasya singhasya pravishanti mukhe mrigaha. That as lion is sleeping with his mouth open and thinking, now one deer, one rabbit, one one animal will come and jump in my mouth. So that doesn't happen. He has to do endeavor even when he becomes old. So they have to do some endeavor. So similarly, just to stay in the Vilas Kunja, just Abhilasha is not sufficient. First of all, Abhilasha is there, that is good. All else people have so many different Abhilashas. So, but for that, Udyam is required. Udyam means controlling mind. That's why we see that in Vaishnava bhajans, most of the bhajans, even Bhakti Vinod Thakur, some very, very important bhajans are full of that. How? It's not that Bhakti Vinod Thakur is struggling to control his mind. So these are all the shiksha. Mana shiksha means it is for us, not for the acharyas. So Premananda, one of the very famous Vaishnava. Famous means not many know, he don't have many known poems. So, Ei Mon Harinam Koroshar. So he has written some very, Ei Bhavasagar Hobe Balochara Hatiya Hoi Vipar. Means this Bhavasagar means this ocean of material existence. But we are staying in, very difficult to cross it. But Harinam Korosar, when we make Krishna consciousness, the name, holy name of the Lord as our essence of our life, and we go ahead very seriously in Krishna Bhakti, then this same Bhavasagara or the material ocean of material existence will become just like some sand in the beach, which we can easily cross and walk and cross. And in one more bhajan, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is saying, Prabhu tava pada yoge mora nivedan nahi magi deha shukha vidya dhanajan. So very, very difficult to pray. Even though we can sing, but these type of prayers are very difficult to ask from the Lord. Deha sukha, who will say to the Lord that I don't want deha sukha or enjoyment for my body. Because everyone is asking for that only. In North India, there is very famous one bhajan that goes in Aarti, that goes in all the temples. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare, Om Jai Jagadisha Hare, Swami Jai Jagadisha Hare. And in that one of the line is, Sukh Sampatti Ghar Aave, Kashta Mite Tanka, Swami Jai Jagadisha Hare. So this is Hindi. The translation is Sukh Sampatti Ghar Aave, means all the material opulence, Sukha, Sampatti, all the opulence should come in my home. And Kashta Mite Tanka, all my bodily, all my diseases and all the kashtas that I have from this body, please take it away and give me all the opulence and all the everything. So this is the prayer that, common prayer that everyone have from the Lord. But here, see, such a level of prayer, he is saying, Nahi magi deho sukha, vidya dhana jana. I don't want to, any sense happiness for my senses, not any followers, not opulence. And just I will read two more paras from it, very, very beautiful. He is saying, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, that Vishaye je priti ebe ache amar, shei moto priti hok charane tomar. So he is saying that at the present moment, how much I am attached to these Vishaya or the material things. So much we are attached toward the material things, no? Because I said that mind is always giving us thoughts to do something irreligious. So always we are dwelling in the thoughts of material things and we become so much attached to it. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur is writing in this song, in this line, that how much attachment, how much attached I am to these material things. So the same type of attachment, say matra priti, same attachment I should have towards your lotus feet. So means totally it is just, now we are upside down, so again we have to change our direction like this. So how much we are attracted to the material things now, so give me that power, that same attachment what I have for material things is same attachment I should get for towards your lotus feet. So in this way, there are so many bhajans. I just took two lines from one bhajan. So, and if we follow everything in a proper way, engage in, which is very, very difficult, certainly not easy, of conquering the mind. So, but if we have full faith in Krishna consciousness and go on suffering all the urges, tolerating all the urges. Recently, Guru Maharaj, Param Pujya Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj gave one important lecture, the heading of which was suffering, better to suffer than protest. So these urges will remain there, but how will we conquer them? By tolerating the urges. And who will give us the power of tolerance? It is the master of all the senses, Lord Krishna. So in this way, if we are in this path, then certainly our situation will also become like Yayati Maharaj. In the previous chapter, Yayati, we saw that how he left immediately everything. So in this 24th verse of the last chapter, 19th chapter, 9th canto, it's written that having enjoyed sense gratification for many, many years, O King Parikshit, Yayati was accustomed to it. Because he was enjoying for thousands of years this sense gratification, and he became accustomed to it, that this is my daily schedule, daily activity. But what happened after getting all the realization in his life? What he did? He gave it up entirely in a moment. In a moment means just it happened like that. In a moment he gave it away, just as a bird flies away from the nest as soon as its wings have grown. So in this way, we should take courage from these words, that immediately when we go on trying to serve the Lord, serve the devotees, and in this way, when we make Lord happy, so immediately His mercy will act in such a way that it will not, within a moment, all our desires to enjoy in this material world will be taken away by the Lord, and our mind will be wholly and solely, it will get surrendered towards the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So in this way, it's a very good story when we'll see ahead how this story unfolds. So again, there will be so many lessons to learn that we will see in the future verses. Hare Krishna. So regarding today's class, if someone has any question or any comments or any corrections, please you can. Hmm.
Speaks about this quality. Right from any age, Maharaj, even in his thoughts, in his mind, he never dwelled on sense gratification. So the same line is being
Adharme ramate kochit.
And as you were explaining in the class about marriages, nowadays the whole idea of marriage is also getting dropped out in the modern culture. Puru Maharaj was last year was explaining about the various achievements of Srila Prabhupada. He spoke about maybe more than some 60 qualities or 60 achievements what Srila Prabhupada did during his manifest presence here. So in that he said that very interesting point. He said that the whole concept of Vedic marriage, Srila Prabhupada introduced it in the Western country, which is unimaginable where people live in such a completely a chaotic culture. And he introduced the whole concept, brought these subtleties in the Western culture, he made them follow. So we can see how practically in India it's supposed to be, suppose as an example, it's being, these cultures are being lost. Another thing that I thought of was, we can also see how subtle the interactions in those days were, in Vedic times. Things are very subtle. You can also see very subtly is commenting that I want to get married to you. You see the whole verse. That is the message that Dushmanta is portraying to Shakuntala. I want to get married, but again, in a very subtle way it is being done, and also he is doing it in a very dharmic.
Yes. Yeah, means they cannot think anything out of marriage. Even when we heard about that Pururava and Urvashi, although both of them were very, very, lusty and agitated, but they never thought of that, let's just do something and just go away like that. But they were, means it is not described everything in Bhagavatam, but they were married and then they led a life of enjoyment and everything. So although they were totally engrossed with lust and everything, but it never came in their mind that why to get married and undergo all these difficulties and everything. Let's just fulfill our desires and get separated, and whenever you want you can come, or I can come to Swarga or anything like that. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.